Hi, I just want to give you a quick news update. There's been a recent bit of news coverage of Pope Francis, who's made a recent speech to the leadership of the Roman Curia, the bishops and cardinals who run that place around the world, and it's a real wake-up call. This is the official Vatican Network news site, news.va, and you can read the entire piece here. And it really does lay it out, the truth that people have been aware of. And here's some of the highlights that are covered from the Huffington Post. These are some of the statements that he's made. It is the sickness of those who court their superiors, hoping for the benevolence. They are victims of careerism and opportunism. They honor people who aren't God. We see spiritual Alzheimer's in the people who have forgotten their encounter with the Lord, in those who build walls around themselves and become enslaved to the idols that they have built with their own hands. When professionalism is lacking, there is a slow drift downwards toward mediocrity. It's the sickness of cowardly people who do not have the courage to speak directly, talk behind people's backs. And a curia that doesn't criticize itself, that doesn't update itself, that doesn't seek to improve itself is a sick body. Now, these are statements made in a Christmas message. And again, you can read the whole message. I suggest you do. As far as I'm concerned, this is part of the worldwide truth-telling that's been going on for a little while now and is building. And you're seeing people in the news who would normally never be in the news are being investigated and prosecuted for wrongdoing that are government or even royalty now. The Pope calling these guys out on all their stuff where they're acting more like people who are totally unspiritual and totally unreligious with regards to the principles they're supposed to be espousing. And it's an interesting article. Now, if you look at, here's the title from Huffington Post. It is a blistering message. Apparently not terribly well received, and those quotes are there for you. And this is the news service from the Catholic News Service. They are reporting it, and I find it interesting that this is the Catholic News Agency, and on their Pope Francis news, latest news, they don't list the speech on here. And I find that interesting because I would say that's a little bit of internal editing, possibly, where they don't want to spread the truth of what Pope Francis is acknowledging is the corruption within the leadership of the church at the highest levels, and the spiritual lack of everything they're supposed to be, I suppose. And so some agencies are reporting it within the Catholic system. This one appears not to be. Maybe I'm just missing it, but it is Pope Francis' latest news, and it should be right in there on the 22nd, but it's not. And it's something that's of interest because this is happening more and more, where the truth is coming out. And I believe that the atmosphere is changing, where more truth tellers are coming forward and more truth tellers are being taken seriously because more credible truth tellers with better evidence are coming forward as well, which I think opens the door for all of us, because we're not going to be treated as crazy or unrealistic, because it's generally acknowledged by the public that there is corruption in government and police and any level of officialdom that is gone too far and needs to be brought back into check, as acknowledged by Pope Francis with regards to the Roman Curia and the Vatican Church. Here's another example of somebody who normally would be investigated or charged. It's Spain's Princess Cristina to stand trial on tax fraud charges. To stand trial. This has been ongoing since before January of last year, where they were investigating and trying to decide whether and what charges. And you can see this is December 22nd. It's Reuters is the source of it. This stuff just would never have happened in the past, where you have somebody who in a position of privilege would normally be able to get away with this stuff. So again, this is just another example where this is an ongoing, I think, largely shift where we have the greatest opportunity and growing to expose, bring forth our own issues and our own evidence and our own complaints in order to really be heard and see some results.